My son came home with a crumpled paper. He didn't slam the door. He didn't call out, "Dad, I'm home." He just stood in the hallway, his backpack hanging from one strap, eyes swollen, as if he had carried the weight of something far heavier than books. "Dad," he whispered, "promise me you won't get mad." I nodded, slowly, mechanical. But he started crying anyway. "My friend's dad, he works in the police. He said something about Mommy." His voice cracked. "He told me to give you this." A crumpled piece of paper. His small hand shook as he pressed it into mine. I unfolded it. A name, an address, a date, scribbled in hurried handwriting. I froze. Not because I didn't understand, but because I did. Something cold moved through my chest, like a blade dipped in ice. And for the first time in years, my son saw me completely still. That night, the house was quiet. Too quiet. She moved around the kitchen as if nothing was wrong. The clatter of dishes, the soft hum of a song she always sang when she thought no one was listening. I stared at her back, memorizing every gesture. The way her hair fell forward when she leaned over the sink, the curve of her shoulders, the small sigh she gave when she thought she was alone with her thoughts. 10 years together, and yet one piece of paper had stripped it bare. The address wasn't random, it was a hotel. Not the kind you booked for family vacations, the kind you paid for in cash, where the walls learned to keep secrets. The date scribbled down was tomorrow, a time, a room number. I felt my chest tightening, but I forced my breathing to stay calm. On the surface, I was the same man, husband, father, provider. Inside, something was cracking open. She turned, smiling faintly, holding out a glass of water. Her eyes met mine. I took it, drank, said nothing. Silence became my shield. I didn't sleep. Instead, I memorized every detail of her phone when she drifted into restless dreams beside me. The lock pattern, the notifications flashing briefly on the screen, the name that appeared twice. A detective, married, uniformed, a man whose child sat in the same classroom as mine. The puzzle was putting itself together too easily. The next morning, I kissed her forehead, smiled, packed my son's lunch. She didn't suspect a thing. By noon, I had what I needed. Phone records, screenshots, the paper still folded neatly in my wallet. Everything pointed to the same truth. She wasn't mine anymore, not in the way she once promised. But betrayal is never just about the act. It's about the silence that follows, the years of pretending, the way someone can sit across from you every night and look you in the eyes while slowly erasing you. I moved carefully, deliberately, booked my own room at the same hotel, different floor, different angle. From there, I would see it all. The clock struck 7. She walked in, a coat over her dress, the one she never wore for me anymore. Her hair loose, her smile small but practiced. He followed minutes later, tall, confident, his wedding ring hidden in his pocket. I watched them through the narrow slit of the door I had left ajar on my floor. I didn't need to hear. The gestures told the story. The way she leaned into him, the way his hand brushed her arm, like he had done it 100 times before. A laugh escaped her lips. That sound, once mine, now belonged to someone else. When the door closed behind them, I finally exhaled. Not in pain, not in rage, but in certainty. Later, when she returned home, I was waiting in the living room. The envelope sat on the coffee table. "What's this?" she asked, her voice steady but her hands trembling. "Open it," I said. Inside, printouts, phone logs, screenshots, the hotel receipt I requested from the desk under her name. Her face drained of color. Her lips parted, but no words came. I stayed silent. My calmness was louder than any scream. She tried to speak, to explain, to reach for me. I slid the paper, the one my son had given me, across the table. Her eyes widened, tears welled, because it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about him, our child, the one person who had unknowingly carried the truth home in his small, trembling hands. "You let him be the messenger," I said quietly. "You dragged him into your lies." Her voice broke. "Please," I lifted my hand, not to strike, just to silence. Her sobbing filled the room, but I felt nothing. I didn't shout, I didn't curse, I simply stood, collected the envelope, and walked toward the door. Her body crumpled to the floor behind me, but I didn't look back. She wanted forgiveness. She wanted negotiation. She would get neither. The punishment wasn't rage. It was absence. The night air was sharp, cutting against my skin as I stepped outside. For the first time in years, I felt clear. I had seen the truth, held it in my hands, and now I had given it back to her like a mirror she could never look away from. I thought of my son, his small voice, his tears. I would protect him, not her, not anymore. The betrayal was hers to carry now, alone. I slid the paper back into my pocket, the one he had given me, a reminder of the day innocence ended and clarity began. I walked away without hesitation, and with every step I felt lighter, because sometimes the cruelest revenge isn't destruction, it's leaving them to drown in the truth they tried so hard to hide. She buried me with lies for years. Tonight, I left her to suffocate in her own truth.